I want to start this Cardano video by saying be careful. S&P 500 traditional markets absolutely capitulating today. It's been so good to see Cardano and cryptos just maintain. They're holding. But what if that strength doesn't maintain? There's like a little bit lag. Crypto falls with the rest of markets in the coming days. I'm going to talk about downside targets in the video. However, if the strength maintains, target to the upside on the short term, 89 cents for ADA. I want to discuss why that is so meaningful on the macro. But put that aside, Wall Street, institutions are playing the Cardano game. That is some big news I want to discuss to kick off the video. And then we'll look at the weekly, the monthly, and the zoomed in daily. Hit the subscribe and like on the way in. Let's start here. This is, just a bunch of numbers, but what the numbers mean is something we've never seen with Cardano. Cardano leads crypto inflows. Cardano ADA has recently emerged as a leader in institutional inflows, surpassing major cryptos like Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. With $63 million in month-to-date inflows, Cardano is gaining attention in the crypto space. In March 2025, Cardano received $63.3 million in institutional inflows, leading the crypto market over the past month. Notably, Bitcoin experienced $826 million in outflows, indicating that investors may be diversifying into alternative assets like ADA. This is something on the macro, as we've been covering these charts for so long, I've been anticipating, and we've been talking about this for quite some time now. Institutions are coming for Cardano. Now here we are doing a video looking at the exact data that displays that this is happening. 63.3 million in inflows. I mean, just look at this. 826 million in outflows for Bitcoin. So that's a sense of what's happening. Cardano holders, ADA holders, big money is here. They're playing the Cardano game. You better believe they're watching the fundamentals of Cardano and this technology. It is a top 10, right? We're going to see interest just because of that. But you better believe in terms of the technology, this decentralized, secure, scalable technology about to bridge with Cardano or with Bitcoin and allow for Bitcoin DeFi, trillions of dollars of liquidity over there. You better believe big money's paying attention to that. So with that being said, let's kind of dive into the price action of Cardano and kind of talk about what is happening right now. And by the way, this news is kind of piling on top of each other. I just covered this earlier in March. Cardano's going mainstream with Coinbase futures. Massive liquidity inflow on the horizon. That liquidity inflow is something we're waiting for in general. Fed net liquidity, QT slowing down, money printers turning on. We're waiting for that for altcoins. It's been a lagging effect. Like you, I was faked out here thinking altcoin market, bull market was beginning. I would have very much enjoyed just monthly candles going parabolic. It didn't happen. But because of this move, I'm not going to turn bearish. I'm just not, especially in the crypto space right now. There's more than has ever been going on in this space that is screaming bullish. So monthly chart, the one thing I wanted to mention was the 20-month moving average. Notice last cycle, kind of the cooling down, the pivot, the reversal, just how that move happened. We're in that move right now. It's a reversal out of a bear market move. 20-month moving average is a very nice job of visualizing it. And it's been quite grueling, right? But notice what didn't happen yet. So here's last cycle, Cardano going into the bull market. There's the 20-month moving average, bull market. This has not happened yet. And this is what I think is going to happen. I don't know when. I've tried kind of timing it, right? November 2024, I thought that was the kickstart of it. It wasn't. And so right now what I'm going to do is patiently wait for that liquidity. I'm going to wait for the move. But if you just look at this chart, just higher lows out of the bear market. On the monthly, I will be watching, can Cardano, if there's going to be downside, we'll look at what downside could look like. Is it going to close monthly candles above the 20-month moving average? That's kind of one thing that's important to watch for on the monthly. It's around 54 cents. So that's one thing. Going over to the weekly, and then we're going to talk about short-term price action. On the weekly, I know I've been talking about, if we zoom out, the similarities, right, of the move that ADA is in right now, how it's so similar to back here in this right shoulder move. We're just in such a very similar move, right? I don't want to harp on that too much, but what I do want to say is this move last cycle, this is a little bit different data, time frame data. When ADA fell below the 20-week moving average, 77 days it traded below the 20 and above the 50 before breakout. Notice when it broke out, it approached those bull market doors of last cycle. Namely, the lower end doesn't have such a data point. It's the upper end. That area, upper end of the bull market doors was 40 cents. This cycle, we see ADA testing that area. The upper end of the doors is not 40 cents. It's like $1.25. So here we are. We're consolidating below the 20, above the 50. 56 days is how long we've been there so far. And I'm not saying it's going to be 77 days. It's going to be exact. But this is kind of interesting, the way in which Cardano is consolidating in the current higher low. Because if you look at last cycle, we had a bear market low, a higher low. We might have probably would have put in another higher low somewhere, maybe this one, if we didn't get COVID, right? So the similarities of Cardano chart are very, like, I don't want to say obvious, but it's very telling what's happening now on this weekly. With that said, on the oscillators, this quicker moving momentum oscillator, the stock RSI, we've been oversold since February, entering oversold. Historically, when ADA gets to this area, it's really the bottoming out formation, right? So you can see this move last cycle, that's what it looked like, this very similar move. You can see maybe previously, the last time ADA fell into this range right here, June, summer 2024. That was the beginning of the bottoming out. I want to say, though, we're not here. Right now, we are in an environment where we're covering Cardano led inflows from an institutional standpoint. QT is getting ready to come to an end, or at least slow down, I should say. Money printers, way closer than right here. So this is a different environment, but still we're oversold. And I would say a more bullish environment, by the way. Now let's talk about downside and upside on the shorter term. So again, S&P 500 chart, if crypto follows this and does start falling and fails to maintain strength, this could be a massive fake out. Be very careful. We start going lower. I think the biggest thing I'm watching for is, yes, we can look at all this like wick action previously throughout all this consolidation. 51 cents, let's just call it 50 cents, 58 cents. Falling into the 50s is very much in play. But I think this blue trend line down here into the 40s is just, for me, what I'm just like, you know what? We could get a higher low in that area. I would very much enjoy to see, if it happens, that it holds support. I don't know. You just never know. I always say it could all go to zero. So I don't know if we'll even have to test this area. And I don't know what will happen if it does test the area. I just want to note that I'm prepared mentally for a move like that. And the thing that plays into that is I went and looked at the gold chart and I was like, man, it's looking very like it's topping out. And last cycle, this is very interesting on the ADA chart. It was the beginning of August 2020. It topped out, right? If you go look at the ADA weekly chart, beginning of August 2020, right here. So gold started falling, and it did signal the beginning of the crypto bull market, but notice crypto, or at least in this case, ADA, it fell one more time for a higher low, and then the bull market started. What if that's happening? What if gold's topping out, ADA, crypto does need to make a little bit of consolidation, higher low, and then the bull market starts? It's just one data point, right? It's not, we can't just put full reliance on that, on that gold data point, but I thought it was interesting. It does play into the potential for downside. Now, upside, 89 cents. Why? We have moving averages. Put everything we've talked about aside. If you're just looking at the daily chart, technical perspective, 50-day moving average around 75 cents, 200-day around 73, 20-day around 70. Breaking above that area is key. We've been just trending down, resistance at those areas, and even in there is a swing high to swing low Fibonacci channel, which is very confluent with those moving averages. It's a 786 to 618 Fibonacci channel right there. So if ADA on the daily makes a move and closes candles above that area, my target is 89 cents from that area. And that is because if we go to the weekly chart, if ADA is making that move above that range of resistance, that means ADA is breaking back into the bull market doors above 72 cents, which is the 200-week moving average. And the next target is 89 cents, the 20-week moving average. So the question will be, if ADA makes the move, does ADA break above that area? That's for a different time. That's for if the move happens, because that's the macro bullish confirmation area that we want to see. And I say that because if you go back to last cycle, That was the move that really triggered the bull move for ADA above the 20 week. So that 20 week right now around 89 cents. So these are my thoughts on Cardano today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Turn notifications on. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.